Are you a film fan who loves the ultimate home video experience? Look no further than The Disconnected. Your host, Ryan Verrill, is your go-to source for the latest and most accurate information on home video releases, exclusive interviews with industry insiders and filmmakers, and has established a thriving community where every film and physical media enthusiast feels welcome. From hidden gems to blockbuster hits, The Disconnected brings you insider knowledge and a welcoming space to share your love of cinema. Watch every Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific for the live announcements show and follow The Disconnected on social media to stay updated. Subscribe to The Disconnected on YouTube or on the podcast provider of your choice and dive into a world where every movie night is an adventure.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies, we love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Ho ho, kiddies, it's Mark here, and I just wanted to let you know that due to the length of our holiday special, we have decided to split it up into 2 episodes. So you're getting that first part here on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Part 2 will be released in just a week on New Year's Eve. So come back then for the second half of the holiday special, and I will leave you a little reminder at the end of this one. On with the show.
Cambridge and Rashawn is a Weirding Way Media podcast.
Nobody's walking out on this fun, old-fashioned family Christmas. No, we're all in this together. This is a full-blown 4-alarm holiday emergency here. We're gonna press on, and we're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. And when Santa squeezes his fat white ass down that chimney tonight, he's gonna find the jolliest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house. You're goofy. Don't piss me off, Art.
Get some sleigh bells for that last episode.
Oh, don't you worry about it.
You always do a great job of coming up with extraneous sounds.
Yep, you're right. I do.
You're also very humble.
Yes, I am.
Oh, man. All right. Let me know when you're ready. Hello and welcome to Cambridge and Washawn, a podcast by 2 weird guys where we talk about the weird things that we like. My name is Ronnie, otherwise known as Skelevator out there in the interwebs, and I'm here with my pal Mark.
I'm Mark Begley. I host some stuff. You know about it already. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you.
You all know who Mark is. If you don't know, do your homework.
Yeah, go look me up on the Google.
That's right. So this is our now famous holiday episode.
Yeah, number 2.
Number 2, actually, but this is the one that fits into the tradition of Cambridge and Washawn holiday episodes going back 10, 13 years. And
the fuck are you talking about?
I'm creating a fictional history for us.
Oh, my goodness.
Gosh.
Wasn't aware this was happening.
I'm really excited about this particular episode, because we're going to be going through all the crazy stuff we got over the past year.
Yeah. Before we get started, do you have any corrections or anything from the last episode?
Gosh.
And we didn't just record 5 seconds ago?
I think that's it. I think no corrections necessary.
I still haven't thought of any Christmas movies that I could rattle off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you thought of some. I think mentioning Black Christmas is important.
Don't like being put on the spot.
I know. Nor do I. So I don't know why I did that to you, but
No, that's okay.
the sadist in me. No, I think we did it. I think we did a pretty darn good job in that last episode. Folks, if you haven't listened to that last episode that we just recorded 5 minutes ago, go back a few weeks and listen to it. That's complicated time. That's complicated Back to the Future situation.
We're recording 2 episodes at once, so this is a little inside joke we're sharing between ourselves here. Anywho,
so I'm excited to jump into this. Now, are we going to do this in chronological order?
I'm going in chronological order, or whatever that word is.
Chronological.
I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but that's what I told you I was doing, so.
Yeah,
Actually, I do have an update.
Oh, good.
Not from 5 minutes ago, but I believe I mentioned on the previous episode, 22, whatever the hell that was all about, that we would most likely hit 1,000 plays by the end of the year, and we have already done that. So
that's exciting.
We're in the 4-digit club.
Nice. Congratulations, Mark.
Although this comes with a caveat, because much like when I used to obsessively count my plays over on SoundCloud for Wake Up Heavy, started to notice some trends. You know, like, why is this person in Columbia, Missouri, like, you're not listening to every episode again, are you? So a lot of these plays, or a good chunk of them, over the last few months at least, have been by someone in Leeds in the UK.
Oh.
And so I don't know if it's just a matter of like resubscribing, or if that is a, you know, sometimes the other platforms that host the show, because they just get it off the RSS feed, are like re-up. I don't know what it is. So is it really 1,000 plays? Probably not. But that's what the stats say on Spreaker, so I'm going with it.
We'll take it. That's cool. Whoever it is out in Leeds that's listening to us compulsively and on repeat.
Stop what you're doing.
Either stop what you're doing if you're not doing it, or continue to do it if you are doing it.
Sure.
So,
yes, I am going in chronological order. So
let's do this. Let's let you begin.
Some of these things, about half of them, have been mentioned or hinted at on prior episodes.
Yes.
I tried to be closed-mouthed about it because I know we do the holiday episode. Some of these things slipped out, or they were relevant to that particular episode. And these first 2 items, some of these are paired, don't really count because I didn't get them this year. I got them last year, and I most definitely talked about them on episode 13 when I discussed my obsession with the $6 Million Man action figure, and how I had completed my vintage Steve Austin with the purchase of the engine block that came with the original figure. I had bought that as a Christmas gift to myself, and then I had bought the bag of 100 balloons so that I could fix his bionic arm. So I don't know why I even added those to my list, but what the fuck, I did.
Well,
so
it counts. It counts. That counts.
I'd already talked about them, but whatever. How about you?
I've talked about some of these things too. I think it's important to note. The thing I'm going to start off with first goes back actually quite a ways. You and I have a shared interest in the Tusken Raider from Star Wars.
Sand people.
The Sand People, if you're a traditionalist, notice I said Star Wars as opposed to A New Hope, just to clarify. I've been shopping online for a vintage sand person, Tusken Raider, for quite a while. And I'm being pretty picky about it because I want to make sure he comes with the vinyl cape and stuff like that. But to satiate my hunger, and this is something I avoided at regular price, I found this guy just a few weeks ago at Ross, the newer retro style.
I talked about him.
I know you talked about him, and I was holding off. I don't know. For some reason, I just didn't want to pay regular price. like I did for the Black Chrysanthemum Chewbacca character. I did get him for $3.99.
Oh, that's a deal.
So that solves the dilemma for me for the moment of not having a sand person in my...
Sand people.
I'm doing air quotes, my vintage collection, because I do have a bunch of vintage figures, but I do also have some of these newer versions of the vintage figures too. And so he hangs out in there with them in the glass case. So that's my first item.
Alrighty.
I'm hoping we're going to be a little loose with this and mention things also that are slightly extraneous.
Well, I didn't mean to rush. Actually, I kind of did the last episode because I figured this would be kind of lengthy. I have some stories for some of these. A lot of them are just going to be, I've mentioned this before I got these this year.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have some stories about particular items, and it may go deep. It may go long.
Let's go deep.
It may go deep and long. If you're into that kind of thing,
I'll be getting to Dick Tracy later, so we'll save that for later.
And the pedophile action figure that you couldn't wait to get your hands on.
That's right.
Speaking of action figures, another thing that was brought up previously that I got this year were the Super 7 reaction figures of the members of Devo.
Mm-hmm.
That had been out for a while, but I was balking at the price. But I finally did get Mark and Bob 2 from Amazon sometime in January. And I believe very shortly after I got those two, the Jerry figure came out. And I just bought that directly from Super 7. Figured I'm going all in on these. So I have those three. They have since released Bob 1, and I have not picked that one up yet. Again, kind of balking at the price. I'm sort of hoping to find it at that Target that we've been talking about a lot.
Yep.
I was slightly disappointed that they were rehashing one of the albums that they've already done. And I think a lot of people figured they were going by album, even though it's been out of order. The first figure was Mark from Freedom of Choice, which is their third album. Second figure went back to the first album. Third figure was the fourth, blah, 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 blah. But I think, like many people, we figured that the fourth figure would be from the second or possibly fifth album.
Right. That would make sense.
It's Freedom of Choice again. It's a different outfit. That's sort of another great thing about them, is that even for each album, there isn't just one costume. Like Super 7 likes to do, they've got plenty to mine from their history.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll get Bob 1 eventually here, either if I see it at Target and don't have to pay for shipping, or if I scrounge around some other shop that happens to carry Super 7 stuff and it's at a lower price, or Amazon, when it gets on Amazon, free shipping. I know I'll end up with whatever they release of them.
Now, this is... I was about to send a message to our listeners that they should get this for you Christmas, but this is going to be airing on Christmas Eve, so never mind. Anyways, yeah. I'll keep an eye out for you too, because, well, we're not planning any trips in the direction of Los Banos, but that is another good Target too. So if you ever make it out that direction, check out that Target. They may.
Yeah, we don't have any trips planned either, but
yeah,
I will keep that in mind. So what is your next item?
Well, the next item is something that our listeners are already familiar with, us having acquired to a certain extent. 2024 has been, for me, a heavy Sesame Street year. I believe that Wave 1 of the Super 7 Sesame Street figures actually came out at the end of 2023. But 2024, we've had two waves, Wave 2 and Wave 3 of the Sesame Street reaction figures. And along with that, we've had our blind box adventure stuff that we've gotten to share, and then our Little People adventures with Sesame Street that we've gotten to share. And one of my prized possessions is the Count Von Count that you got me. He's right here staring at me right now, and love it. I also found in a bag of little people that I almost just let my wife take to her classroom blindly without exploring completely.
Fuck them kids.
I got Cookie Monster finally, and Mr. Hooper. Hooper
or Hopper? I think it's Hooper.
I think it's Hooper. Hopper's Stranger Things. That's why I get confused.
Yes. Ronnie got that bag and he said, "Fuck them kids. I'm taking these."
I did. Not only did I score Cookie Monster and Hopper from that bag, I also Hooper. Sorry, I also scored a cowboy.
Ah, nice.
I was jealous of your cowboy. I don't know if I told you that. So I was jealous of your cowboy that you found on our field trip, and so I got that as well. And I'm continuing to ride that wave. There's some things coming out through NECA. There's a Bert and Ernie on the way that I'm really super excited for. They look amazing.
We'll talk about those once you get them, because I have my thoughts about NECA stuff.
NECA's going to come up again today. So
okay, well, maybe I'll express my thoughts then, and you won't be happy.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to crush your Christmas.
We shall see. Oh, also a friend of my YouTube channel sent me some cake toppers. I got some cool little PVC Sesame Street cake toppers as well. It's been a good Sesame Street year so far.
Yeah, they're going to come up on my list a handful of times as well.
Nice.
And what does the word cookie mean to you, Ernie?
Cookie. Oh, cookie is my very favorite word of all, and it means it's my very favorite dessert of all.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the 3 hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week, and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
My next item was also a topic on a past episode. Oh shoot, I forgot to write which one it was. The Devo stuff was from episode 14 when we talked about them. $6 Million Man was episode 13. Because of me getting this figure, I talked about the Big Jim Dr. Steele figure that I was obsessed with as a kid. So I got that from eBay for a decent price, even though it was, how should I put it? Not damaged, but repaired in a poor fashion that wasn't made clear in the description, but whatever. I think I mentioned that it was written by AI. It was an AI written description, and I'm seeing a lot of that on eBay.
Yeah.
Write this for me, Internet. ChatGPT. Yeah, you can totally tell by the wording. But anyway, so that was another purchase this year. Goes with my other Big Jim figure of Zorak. And I've got them standing behind me. There they are. You see their chests?
Those look good back there. That Gentle Giant Yoda looks really good back there.
Starting to get a new setup in here.
Yeah, it's looking good. You just got some Bob Big Boys back there.
Yep. Lots of Bobs.
Mm-hmm.
What's next on your list?
Let's see. I'm going to skip ahead to the Planet of the Apes discussion we had. I'm not going to try and remember what episode that is. But this is where we can jump back into talking about NECA, because I was super excited to find a re-released Gorilla Soldier NECA action figure at Target. NECA, Super 7 charges a lot for their reaction figures. NECA definitely charges a lot for their 7-inch figures. I understand why, because of all the detail and such. But there's some quality control issues with their joints and things like that come up every once in a while. the Gorilla Soldier looks like he walked right off of the screen, which is cool. But his hands, if you move his hands slightly, they just pop right off. That's my biggest disappointment with that. I have the Cornelius Mego figure that you gave me several years ago, and I have some of the newer Mego Planet of the Apes figures, and now I have this guy. I'm pretty happy with my Planet of the Apes collection right now, although I do sometimes get a little bit pissed at myself for not jumping on the Reaction Planet of the Apes figures on occasion. But
yeah, me too.
I can live with it.
And they're long gone.
Long gone. That play set is the one that is the thing that I really wanted to get that I regret not getting.
Yeah, that was the same as my Devo episode, since they were both ape-related in a way.
Yep.
I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
My issue with NECA is not, because I don't even know if I have a couple of NECA figures, but they are the Mego style figures, the 8-inch cloth figures. The 7-inch figures that I believe that Planet of the Apes figure you're talking about aligns with, and there are tons of them at Target. That's all I see at Target as far as collectible stuff besides Funko Pops.
And they never go on sale.
I am not interested in that highly detailed all plastic figure in any way, shape, or form. Just does not work for me. I would much rather have a goofy looking cloth figure. And I have seen the pictures of the Bert and Ernie, and they're really cool. I just don't like, it sort of looks like a real sweater or whatever Ernie's wearing when you look at it from a distance, but then all of the joints and folds are a part of the thing, and I don't like that.
That actually started with Palisades Toys, came out with their Muppet Show action figure line in the early 2000s, and they did that. It made a lot of fans happy, but I understand the complaint too, because if it looks like cloth, why can't it just be cloth?
Well, and McFarlane Toys did a lot of that too.
Yeah.
And I had back then, because it was one of the few things that you could get for certain properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just all hard plastic. They look really cool on a shelf or something, but there's just something about it that doesn't work for me.
The part that I'm happy about is I have a few of the Palisades Muppet figures. What got me real excited, and I think has a few other fans excited too, is that they are matching the scale of those Palisades figures with these Sesame Street figures. So they're the same style and scale applies. The Palisades never got around to doing Sesame Street. They did release a Super Grover. It was like a con exclusive. One of the best things about the Palisades figures is that there's the Muppet foam texture to like their faces is sculpted into the plastic. So that's something that I think is cool as a person who's a fan of tactile stuff. But I get it.
All right. I'm heading back to Sesame Street with some vintage items that I picked up. And I don't think I talked about these. I only hinted at them, but I got a couple of the finger puppets. I was looking for finger puppets and or Fisher-Price Little People at the same time. They suffer from the same issues where the paint rubs off the eyeballs of most of them. And the ones that I like Cookie Monster and Grover, have prominent eyes and noses. And it's hard to find any that are in decent shape. But I actually had, I think at one point, 3 or 4 different listings that I put on my watch list. Different combinations of either Oscar or Cookie Monster or Grover and Cookie Monster. Bert and Ernie are even tougher because of the hair that they have. And I would get the occasional offer from somebody like, oh, you looked at this, so now it's 10% off or whatever. And I ended up just getting one of the combination sets I'd been looking at that was Oscar the Grouch, because I had that one as a kid, and a Cookie Monster, and they're both in really, really good shape. Both a little bit bigger than I remembered, actually. I don't know what kid at 7 or 8 years old could fit those on their finger without them just completely flying off, because they're huge on my hands these days. But anyway, so I got Oscar the Grouch and Cookie Monster vintage finger puppets.
It was just me and nature. And then I saw a little baby worm all by himself. I'll never forget it. He was having a great time playing in the mud. And then he saw me.
Those are on my list. And when I'm cruising eBay, those are always something I'm looking for too.
Yep.
Glad you're able to find some good ones. There's some like weird color variations for Oscar that I keep running into online where he's blotchy or splotchy or different colors.
Well, he has a paint application where he has some highlights, like lighter green highlights. And of course, like many things that were made back then, they're going to vary widely. Also, there are later variations that are slightly different sculpts. I can kind of always tell, like, oh, no, that one doesn't look right. That's not the one from my childhood. And I remember having Big Bird, too, as a kid. But Big Bird stuff just doesn't really appeal to me anymore as an adult. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I can see that.
Cute and compact and stuff like the other monsters.
The Big Bird, the one variant that I've seen out there of the finger puppets is Big Bird's eye applications being reversed so that he looks angry. The eyelids are like slanted off to the side. And if they print the eyes on the opposite side that they're supposed to be, they look angry. And I've actually seen those out there on eBay. And so that is a Big Bird that I might try and get, is the mistake Big Bird.
The angry version.
I had the finger puppet of Big Bird as a kid. I think that's the main reason why I would like to get a Big Bird finger puppet. But yeah, I'm going to take a side road off course just a little bit, because one of
That's unacceptable.
One of our, well, it's on course still, I guess, because he's one of our most avid listeners, Jeff Martin, for my birthday got me, and this ties in certain ways.
It doesn't have to tie in. It's just stuff you got. It doesn't have to tie in.
Thank you, Mark. So I got, he sent me the blue Flash Gordon Beastman that has been sort of a grail piece of mine for ages. So Jeff, thank you so much. This is an early version of what would become our Masters of the Universe Beastman, and I've talked about that before on here. It's so cool to...
Oh, we know.
We have, just as much as we've talked about the plastic rock balls.
Yeah, but that's interesting.
So that was a huge one. Actually, there are 2 grail pieces that came my way this year, and I'm saving the second one for last, actually.
Smart.
Jeff, thank you so much. I'm just stoked to have him as part of the collection now. And for those of you who know about the Flash Gordon action figures, they are super weird. That totally fits everything that I love about toys. That's my Blue Beastman for the show.
Speaking of blue, my next item or items. What are you doing?
I'm excited. I think I have this idea of what I think it might be. Anyways, sorry. I'm excited.
No, I've already talked about these because I think the episode was last season. Talked about Saturday Night Live. That's going to come up a number of times here. But I finally tracked down the Blues Brothers novelization. I know I've mentioned that.
Yep.
And I bought the Blu-ray on Amazon around the same time, I guess. Yeah, pretty much within the same week back in the spring. So I got those items pertaining to childhood obsessions. I still haven't finished the novelization, though. It gets a little much. And knowing that it was based off of Aykroyd's original script makes a lot of sense, because the guy did not know how to edit himself. It's fun to have it, though. Just to look at it, like, oh, God, I remember staring at this and reading through this so many times as a kid.
It's got a cop motor, a 440 cubic inch plant. It's got cop tires, cop suspension, cop shocks. It's a model made before catalytic converters, so it'll run good on regular gas. What do you say? Is it the new Bluesmobile or what? Fix a cigarette lighter.
That's great. Movie novelizations can be funny sometimes because they're filling gaps that, and especially if they were written based on the script, they're often filling gaps just to get the page count up and get some weird things in there. I always prefer it when it goes the other way around, that a movie is based on a novel. A novel has stuff in there that didn't end up in the movie.
Right.
Rather than the other way around. I've been meaning to get to one of the items that we found on our field trip, which is Splinter in the Mind's Eye, which is the sequel to the original Star Wars film. I've been meaning to get to that book. It's on my list of things to read. I'm anxious for the weirdness in there. I think the next thing I need to bring up too, because I feel that stop motion animation shows up a lot on this show. I talk about it a lot. It's partially my fault, I guess.
It's all your fault.
And Clash of the Titans is a very important movie in my life. When I was able to find the oh my God, what I'm blanking on his name. Calibos. When I was able to find Calibos at a reasonable price when I was down in Los Angeles with my dad delivering the Snake Mountain, that was a big deal. Finding him was an exciting moment. That's something else that I got to. Now, Clash of the Titans action figures, there are only 3 items that I'm interested in. So the third item is the Kraken, which I know I'll never be able to find at a reasonable price because those things are usually about $700 or more. Maybe slightly less sometimes, but mostly around that price range. It'll never happen for me. I was excited to find this guy.
Maybe Jeff Martin will get it for you.
I don't think he'll be able to afford that. No.
Is it my
Your turn?
I believe I purchased this the same time from Amazon that I got the Blues Brothers Blu-ray. It was one of the retro collection prototype figures that I had missed and wanted because for some reason it fits that idea of having those different colors for each separate piece, movable piece, and that was the Chewbacca.
Mm-hmm.
I think I pointed out to you just how how slim the card is on it because it's like just him. So the card, not the bubble. Sorry, not the card. The bubble is just like he's like squished in there with the bubble. It's so funny.
The Chrysanthemum Chewbacca character or the Chewbacca
Wookiee?
Oh, yeah, Wookiee. I thought you said Chewbacca earlier. Sorry. I was like, oh, they released a Chewbacca?
That's what I'm talking about.
They released a retro collection Chewbacca?
Yeah, the prototype.
Oh, the prototype one. Yeah. Sorry. I missed that part. Sorry.
Now I got to cut all that out.
That's okay.
What are you talking about?
The same thing happened with Chrysanthemum, too. Like, he's huge in that little tiny bubble, and he's just basically squished in there. The retro-style card back for him.
It's just like he's just in there, and so the bubble is really...
Right.
What's the opposite of deep? Narrow?
Shallow.
Shallow. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's that? I know there's a word. It's very shallow, and he's just like sitting in there. It just made me laugh when I got it.
Our show 20 years from now is going to be us just trying to find the words for things.
Oh, God. Welcome to Alzheimer's and Dementia. We'll have to change the name.
Welcome to my life, basically.
What's on your list, son?
Well, we talked about it a little bit. Since I didn't talk about the other characters that I got from the Playmates Dick Tracy line, I only talked about Steve the Tramp. I should talk about the Dick Tracy figure that I got and the I'm blanking on his name. Big
This is why we make lists for ourselves, Ronnie.
I don't know why I'm blanking on I didn't think I needed a list for this. What's his name?
That was your first mistake.
I know. That's always the mistake I make. Big Boy Caprice. Okay. So I did get Big Boy Caprice, which is the super weird character that Al Pacino plays in Dick Tracy. I didn't realize this because I didn't have this action figure as when the movie came out. I did have Dick Tracy, and he's super generic looking. Doesn't even really look like Warren Beatty. Just looks like a kind of like a
thank
tough
God
guy.
for that.
I know that would be really weird. There were these 8-inch cloth dolls, plastic heads but cloth bodies that came out around the time of that movie. I did not talk about in that last episode.
and they were very movie accurate face sculpts. And so he does look like Warren Beatty.
I didn't mention this when you talked about that movie, but him as Dick Tracy just looking like Warren Beatty in a yellow suit was another reason why I had no interest in that film. Fucking slick your hair back at least, bro. Do something to look like Dick Tracy.
First of all, you're absolutely right. It's such a strange... Warren Beatty... Anyways, piggybacking off of that, this is a follow-up, I did find the videos that we were talking about. One video of Warren Beatty dressed up as Dick Tracy in the more recent years, and that's super weird. It was weird enough when the movie came out, but it's super weird to see that. I didn't realize that Big Boy Caprice had a hunchback or like a Igor-style lump on his back. So that was an interesting discovery with this action figure.
Well, he has one in the movie.
I don't remember seeing that in the movie. I just remember him kind of walking weird.
He's a hunchback. Even I know that. I've never seen the fucking thing. Oh, I just knocked over a bunch of stuff.
I need to see the movie again. Again, that goes back to what we were discussing. I was hoping, because we mentioned it on the episode, that the zeitgeist would be activated and the movie would suddenly show up on Disney+.
It's not always immediate.
It hasn't yet. The zeitgeist did work with me getting the Cookie Monster chase with the cookies in his belly, the transparent one.
Don't talk about all your stuff at once.
I just, I'm excited, Mark. I'm excited. That's my biggest
You better
problem.
be saving some, because I've got at least 11 more things here.
Oh, yeah. I've got something to say.
Because otherwise I'll just be talking by myself here.
Well, I'm a good listener, so I'm okay with that. So those, again, I mentioned it in the last episode that we just recorded that came out a couple weeks ago. The Playmates action figures, they seem to be becoming more popular, the Dick Tracy ones. I'm going to continue searching for an affordable flat top. I'm not willing to spend more than $10 on these things.
Yeah.
Flat top was my favorite character from the movie, was my favorite character from that line. William Forsythe is an actor I'll always be interested in seeing what he does. That's on my list to get next in time. As you and I always preach, I'm going to be patient about it.
Yeah, they're weird figures. I'm looking at the picture that you posted on Instagram.
Yeah.
And they're all three hunched over. I don't get that.
They're squat. Why? I think they were trying to make sure that they could align with the squattiness of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Same company.
But they're not even that scale.
They are.
They are?
They're just yeah.
Oh, yeah, they are.
They're right about the scale of the main.
I don't get it. I still don't get it, though, unless they're made for vehicles or something.
It's a really weird... I agree with you. It's a super strange design choice.
I don't understand that.
They're squat. Almost like they wanted to make them match with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think that's what they were trying to do.
They all look like they're getting ready to fart, so I don't understand the appeal of that.
Yeah. That's part of the criticism of Masters of the Universe, too. Yeah. They all look like they're ready to let loose from their bowels.
Well, that's disgusting, so... My next item isn't disgusting at all.
We can try and find a way to make it disgusting.
Probably. I mean, these could fit somewhere. So my next item is related to the Cutie Fruity pencil toppers that I talked about so long ago. And during that episode, I mentioned that I had stumbled on and discovered that there were other things called Cutie Fruities that used the same design as the pencil toppers. I believe these came first. No idea. I hope somebody makes a documentary about this someday.
They will.
So I have been off and on looking for what I'm going to call the original Cutie Fruities that are these walking toys.
Oh, yeah.
That were made by Franconia/Tomy. And Tomy is a Japanese company. And I believe Franconia is an American company. There might be another something else. UK or something, but so there was a line of these walking toys. Franconia made a lot of walking toys. There's a Peanut and some other things that they have, but there's a whole bunch of these. There's a Mr. Apple, there's a orange, there's the Mr. Grape, there's a pineapple, and they're pretty pricey. So I would just keep looking and looking. I'm not sure. Sometime during the summer, I was looking again and just happened to find this listing that was for a Mr. Apple and a Miss Orange for
those are beautiful.
$5. And I think it was an auction. Yeah, I believe it was an auction. So it was starting price of $5 and the shipping was $5. And so I put in a bid of $5 or whatever, because I didn't really care. I was just whatever for these types of things. I never had these as a kid, but it's a curiosity to me, and won it. So I basically got these for $5 a piece.
That's amazing.
The whole auction with shipping was 10 something.
Yeah.
There's an Apple on there right now that's been up there since I discovered these things that somebody's trying to sell for $80. And I'm like, why? How long are you going to have that thing up there before you drop it at least half?
Right.
Anyway, around that same time, though, there was another, and I think this was just a straight buy it now listing of 5 of them in their boxes for $25. And I believe I would have only gotten one double. It was either the apple or the orange, and the rest were different figures, like the pineapple.
That's a good deal.
Maybe the grape. And I missed it completely by forgetting. It wasn't it must have been an auction too, because I was waiting. So I'm like, remember, Mark, at 1:00 to go put your bid in. Got sidetracked by something on the TV or on my computer or work or whatever, and never got back to it. And that listing has never come up again. It didn't get won by nobody bid on it. It had 0 bids when it closed. And so usually, sometimes even automatically, they go back up, and it has never gone back up. So I missed getting 5 of them for $5 a piece with, a duplicate that I would have most likely passed on to you. Not having really any history with these, I was surprised at how small they are.
I'm surprised at how big they are.
They're 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell the scale, when you're just looking at pictures on eBay.
Yeah.
I figured they were about 4 or 5. It just seems like they're a little more petite than I imagined. Again, when I hold this up to the little apple, it's the exact same sculpt. The eyes are doing the same thing. He's got arms. They're stuck to his body, but they're doing the same thing that the little pencil toppers do.
Yeah.
His tongue is sticking out. It's on the opposite side, but it's so bizarre. I don't know what the etymology is of these things and how they went from these little walking figures to those pencil toppers. All of them are the exact. The grape is exactly like the pencil topper, the pineapple, the pear. It's so weird. So I'm waiting for that documentary that you're getting on top of to come out and explain it to me.
It sounds to me like we both like the idea of documentaries coming out.
No, I'm actually just making fun of you.
I know you are, but I think there's some truth in there. That's what I hold on to.
If for some ungodly reason I see on my TV the history of Cutie Fruities explained in great detail, just for you, Mark Bigley, then I would watch it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
See, this is the optimism, pessimism thing.
I know.
That's a ridiculous statement.
It's yin and yang for us.
I would be absolutely 100% surprised that any person on this planet would endeavor to do that.
I'm telling you, I think I missed my calling. I should have gone to film school. Hey, with our iPhones these days, we can do whatever we want. I think
it takes a lot more than an iPhone. You got to find somebody that actually made these things.
It's going to be that simple. I'm just going to take my iPhone to wherever and just make a movie.
To wherever. Mm-hmm. To all the people that know about these things. Sure. What's on your next item list in chronological order?
The next one is in honor of you. The last time you brought up Migos, it was our last episode, actually. Not the one we just recorded, but the one we recorded previously. We talked a little bit about how I had a disembodied Spider-Man Migo head, probably as a kid. It's going to be a while before I get a Spider-Man Migo figure. But I've been trying to stop in at Ross every once in a while, because it's pretty close to where I work. There's one pretty close to where I work. by Fashion Fair. Because since I work at Fresno State, it's like right down the street.
Yeah.
Between
I totally
right near where we had coffee.
Right near
time.
where I work. It's across the street
right across
from where
from
I
you.
work.
That's right.
Practically. I totally forget about it.
That's right. So I sometimes on my lunch break, I'll swing by. When I saw this one guy grab the 3.75 inch Hulk right in front of me, I was like, oh, of course.
Punched him in the throat.
I didn't. I should have. But I'm like, oh, great. I'm so happy for you. I did find a little Spider-Man, and there have been like a bunch of versions of this Spider-Man, but I wanted the super traditional red,
simple,
and blue with black webbing, super simple Spider-Man. The one with the red spider on the back and the little teeny tiny black spider in the front.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he's 3.75 inch for obvious reasons. I just love that. For some reason, I think you and I both agree that scale is just phenomenal. But I got really excited. I found him for $3.99. This is what's really crazy. So folks, if you go to Ross, keep an eye out for this, because if you're looking for 3.75 inch figures on the little traditional bubble card back, you may not see what I found. I found a 2-pack for the same price as one figure. And this was like a thing you had to order through Hasbro. And it was Electro and Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
2-pack.
I remember seeing that 2-pack at Target.
Yep.
And not buying it because I didn't want Electro.
Yeah, I don't want Electro. But for $3.99.
Yeah. So $2 a figure, basically.
Exactly. So I'm really excited, though, to have the traditional Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The way that I love him. Happy to add him in with my other little pieces of plastic. That was just a couple weeks ago, actually.
Cool. Well, you're not going in chronological order, so fuck you.
No, you know what? I forgot about all the rules. After you gave me the freedom to just do whatever, I was like, all right, I'm going to go just do whatever.
Jesus Christ, man. Well, my next items were mentioned a couple times on the show. I'm going to be vague about them still, because this will be something that I talk about not in depth, because I don't really know much about them, but the DAW sci-fi books. I picked up a couple on our trip in July to Morro Bay, and got one on our outing to Old Town Clovis. DAW sci-fi covers with the yellow spines.
Yep.
Check them out. Hey, Dan Davis, if you're listening, help me out, man. You're the sci-fi book guy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll message you and see if you know anything about that publisher.
It would be really interesting if all of those DAW sci-fi books were donated by Dan back when he moved away from Fresno.
Yeah. That's interesting. I should look.
My next thing actually piggybacks off of that directly. I've added something to my wish list to recollect, and it's based on us having talked about James Bond. It reminded me of how when I was in high school, I got pretty deep into collecting the vintage Ian Fleming paperbacks. I donated them at some point in my stupid 20s.
Stupid 20s. Ain't that the truth?
Oh, gosh. Don't get me started. I got rid of all of them, and I pretty much had all of them. And there are some similar to the DAW sci-fi books. Some of those covers are phenomenal. I've been really toying with the idea of trying to rebuild that collection, and I'm excited too. And I've also decided to rewatch all the Roger Moore James Bonds in anticipation of a future discussion that we might have.
Okay. Well, is that your item that you're talking about?
Yeah, a wish list item. I'm breaking all the rules.
Because that's not something you have, so I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
It's something I'm going to have. I'm excited.
This is another constant. We've already mentioned them a couple of times, and this is where I might go off on a little tangent.
Yay!
We've already mentioned the Super 7 Sesame Street reaction figures multiple times. You've talked about them at great length.
Yes.
We've discussed pursuing them, particularly the blind box, because I have not purchased any of the carded figures because of the price.
Right.
That's part of what I'm going to talk about. Excuse me. You mentioned finding them at that Target. I went to that Target got Bert the first shot, took a chance the next time I was there, and lucked out on an Ernie, 2 of my faves. I'm happy with those. You gifted me the Oscar, the 3rd or 4th or 5th Oscar that you had purchased. I'm happy with those 3. If they do another blind box series, I don't even know if I'll bother, because I don't think I'm interested in any of the other figures in the Wave 2 or the Wave 3 or however many waves they've done. But who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. We've mentioned the price of reaction figures numerous times, and I know anytime you do a review on your channel, you talk about it. So we're kind of treading familiar ground here, but when I got them and opened them, it just reminded me of how good a job Super 7 does on these figures and how well made they are. I understand enough to know of why they cost what they do because of the care that they take in making them, the materials that they use, also the licensing. You know, this is still a small company. They are not Hasbro. They are not Mattel. They have dipped their toes in big major licenses, but licensing things costs money. I think that is a big part of the price point. Although I will say that on their original stuff, the cost isn't any lower. So, you know, the worst figures and some of the other figures that are just strictly homemade by Super 7 don't cost any less. So anyway.
You're paying for original ideas, Mark.
Sure. You know, the card art is great compared to most other action figures of the same scale or even larger. It's going to be hard to beat Super 7 with that. And they've got to pay those artists to do that, et cetera, et cetera. So I get it, but I still think they're overpriced. When I think about the blind box figures versus the carded figures and how there is a $5 difference in price, I think that goes toward my argument because those are still in packaging. It's just a cardboard box, but there is still art that was designed. They're not just slapping the same old artwork on the blind boxes. There's something there that's not jiving for me still. Would I prefer them to be $5 less and maybe cheap out on the card art a little bit? Sure, to be honest with you. Something's got to give at some point because, like I said, I don't know if it was earlier in this episode or on our last one, things ain't going to get any cheaper that are coming from China. The days of $20 reaction figures may soon be over.
That's very true.
They may be considerably more than that. So that's why I mentioned at that point, get them now if you're interested. And I should be telling myself that as well. Get that Bob 1 figure because it probably ain't going to be cheaper next year.
That's probably smart. It's a tough pill to swallow because, it's $20 plus shipping. And, you know, it can really add up. It's a gift, though, that some of them do show up on the Target shelves, but you're just betting on that. You're just, waiting on it and betting on it. That's tough.
I guess my main thing is when I compare them to a Mego figure that's 8 inches, that has cloth accessories, has other large accessories. The card art's never going to win me over on the new Mego stuff. I just don't really think that they do that good of a job.
Agreed.
These are the same price, or were. I don't know what the price. I haven't bought a Mego figure in a while. When they were at Target, they were $14.99. I know that some of the ones that I've gotten on Amazon, because they've been sort of later, may have been up to $20. That's the same price as a 3 3/4 inch all plastic figure with no cloth accessories. When I compare those two things in my head, it doesn't make sense.
Another issue is that rarely do NECA or Super 7 figures go on clearance at Target. However, the Megos do go on clearance. Like I got this Toxic Avenger. Well, I got him from Walmart, but he was still a clearance item because he's from 2021. It's hard to tell if we're pro or against Super 7. I will say that the card, though the art is not spectacular, it still has cool art and it's a good quality cardboard, similar to the Super 7 card backs, which are good quality cardboard. So, I think this thing was regularly priced at $17.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
The Megos are still going to be less than the Super 7 figures.
Yeah. I'm not saying for or against Super 7 in any way. I've met the owner of Super 7 a handful of times, almost worked with him back when I was doing letterpress stuff. And he's a nice guy. And You know, they've had major changes in direction on what they produce over the years. Completely different than what they started with 20-something years ago. I don't fault them for any of it. It's just a little too much for a 3 3/4 inch figure in my mind. And that's really my sole complaint. If the figures were crap too, then it would just be an easy pass. You know, those Sesame Street figures are very well made, very well sculpted. Generally, the paint apps are spot on. They're not sloppy like a lot of other toys, mass market toys. I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Just think they're a little overpriced.
Yeah. They're a niche company, and probably that kind of price for that stuff is probably always going to be there. They're definitely going to be the only place where we can get Devo figures,
right?
Powell Peralta figures, professional skaters, and a Lemmy action figure. Gosh, I'm hoping they come out with the Melvins one of these days, but they're the only company that would be doing that, and I guess that's part of what you're paying for.
Right.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror. We'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
How many more items do you have on your list? I have 2 more.
2? Oh my God, I've got a ton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Nice.
Well, a couple of them are paired.
I'll pass the baton back to you then.
Well, in the same vein, and I think on the same trips out to that Target, I got some other Sesame Street related items. You had mentioned seeing these plush figures, either Kid Robot or NECA, and it's one and the same. I had totally forgotten that NECA had bought Kid Robot. So I picked up the funny, still hate those names, plush Bert. The same day I got the blind box Bert. And then I don't know if it was the same day or not, that I picked up the 2 Ernies. So I have a Bert and Ernie reaction figure. I have Bert and Ernie. No, it wasn't the same day. A funny plush from Kid Robot. I know you don't like that cute-sified baby style, but I do.
Yeah.
Much like the Baby Garfield that I couldn't shut up about. And I want to make a comparison here to that, because I mentioned with that Baby Garfield and its very low price point how this will most likely fall apart someday. These Kid Robot things are extremely well made. They are $17 versus $9 or whatever the Baby Garfield was, but they are stitched together just amazingly well.
Good.
Very well made. Much like
Nice.
Super 7 stuff. I get it. And then when we were there on a trip to find something for my grandniece's birthday, we looked through the plush pile again, and my daughter Cleo saw Count Von Count, funny plush, grabbed that, said, "I want this." I said, "No problem." Got up to the counter. It didn't have a tag on it. The girl was like, "This didn't have a tag." And I said, "No, I know how much they are," but she didn't ask me. Rang it up. We got out of there. I looked at the receipt, and she had charged us $5 for it.
Nice.
So we got a cheap one for her.
Cool.
Yeah, we really like those little guys. I'm trying to see if I have any other Sesame Street that I can throw in there.
I have another thing that I could probably mention, but really so it'll be the next 3 items that I discuss are all going to be Star Wars.
I'll split them up.
Good, cool. I'm splitting them up. Here we go.
You haven't bought any Masters of the Universe stuff this year?
Yeah, I have, but...
Well, what the fuck are you talking about? You've got 2 items left.
Well, because I thought, I always talk about Masters.
Duh.
You royal boob.
Well, fuck. Here comes 20 more items.
I was expecting to, sit here for a half an hour bored out of my gourd while you rattled off the list of Masters of the Universe items you picked up.
I'm going to talk about two different groups of Masters figures so I don't get too carried away.
I know you bought Simpsons stuff too.
Okay, yeah.
You're not thinking of all the stuff you got. I know you got more stuff than what you're talking about, dude.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder. I'm looking at them right now, actually. Cool.
Go on with your
bad
self.
The Jakks Pacific Simpsons figures that have been coming out are super affordable, and I absolutely cannot resist the small ones. I have not yet bought the $20 family pack yet, because that would mean that I would have now 3 Homer Simpsons. I was really excited to get Chief Wiggum. That was the main one that I wanted to get. Chief Wiggum. My wife loves Chief Wiggum. Every time he comes on the screen, she just can't stop laughing. And also Ned Flanders, because when I just had a mustache back when the girls were in elementary and middle school, it was just a mustache, and their friends would behind my back call me Ned Flanders. I did get Ned Flanders and Chief Wiggum, and these are $4.99. And the quality of these figures, well, I'm going to go back to this because the Simpsons figures that came out in the late 90s, early 2000s were Playmates, as well as the same company as Dick Tracy and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Simpsons figures were substantially higher quality. These tiny versions, they're not even 3.75. They're like 3-inch figures.
They're like 2.5.
Yeah. Talk about going from Super 7 to Jakks Pacific. It's a huge leap. I feel like the quality of plastic might be a little bit less.
You're getting into what I was going to get into, because my next item was the Ned Flanders Jakks Pacific Simpsons figure.
It's an amazing figure.
They are not anywhere near the quality of the Super 7 figures.
No, but they're still so good.
I'm not going to argue with you about that, but they're smaller.
Yeah.
The articulation is wonky as all get out.
It's super weird.
The packaging is boring as fuck. And so $5 a figure? Hell yes. Hell yes. But it's obvious as to why these cost a quarter of a Super 7 reaction figure.
I'm going to come back with this, though. If you hold them in your hand and you try and play with them, they're going to feel like cheaper toys, for sure. The packaging makes them look like cheaper toys, for sure. But the moment you get them on the ground and do toy photography or put them on the shelf alongside your other figures, they're just glowing with artistry. They're beautiful little objects to put on the shelf. And they are simple enough to give us that little nostalgia buzz for people like us that grew up with super simple toys. I picked up the play set. It came with a Homer Simpson. It's the home. It's like the living room, and then the back side of the play set is the house, like the front of the house, which is strange because it doesn't line up.
No.
It's still cool to have, and it's a pretty high quality play set, even though it's super simple in design. It looks like you're looking right at the cartoon. But the Flanders, the Homer, the play set, and the Chief Wiggum, I'm really happy to have them, and I'm really glad that Jakks Pacific is putting these out. There's larger versions of these characters that are more in scale to the Playmates figures. But because the Playmates figures exist out there on eBay at a fairly reasonable price still, it seems to me like I would rather get these little teeny tiny ones and take up less shelf space.
I haven't run across the larger ones.
Oh, you haven't? Yeah, they look pretty good.
I've only seen the small ones in Target and the plush with the hard vinyl heads.
The plush figures are a direct throwback to the 90s. I mean, I remember those being around, and they look exactly like those. You're right. I got the little Simpsons figures. I'd like to get the pets. I almost feel like that $20 set for the whole family is worth it to get Marge and the pets, because I don't think they're going to come out as individual figures.
Yeah, I wonder how long this line will go, if it'll generate enough interest to continue to get into the weird. Because for the Playmates figure, since you mentioned them, I just got the weird kids. Those are the only things that I was interested in. I got like Ooter and the twins and the little sickly boy. Yeah, I just kind of got the weirdo ones, and they're all still in their cards. I never took any of those out.
Yeah. Gabby went through a phase. Our daughter Gabby went through a phase where she was collecting them. So we have several of them on card still hanging on the wall in there. But these are cool. I'd like to see some of the oddball characters show up. at this scale. But you're right. I'm not sure how long this is going to last. Part of me wants it to last longer so we can get those oddball characters. Part of me also wants that family pack that's $20 to go on clearance so I can get them. Cool stuff.
I'll cross that off my list. That's one down.
Oh, jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile broke its wheel, the Joker got a...
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
We already have talked about these, so I'll just mention it briefly. The vintage Fisher-Price Little People that we got on our excursion. So that's that one down. Now I feel like I'm being rushed.
You feel like you're being rushed?
Yeah, because you are not going to talk about enough stuff.
All right, but you convinced me to talk about stuff that I thought nobody wanted to hear about.
I was going to do.
You got it. Well, here comes some Masters of the Universe talk. Mark's already putting on his nightcap.
Okay, for those of you that aren't interested, come back to this timestamp, and I won't blame you. Remember, kiddies, this is just the first half of our holiday special. Come back next week on New Year's Eve for the second part. We start with a bang on that one, with Ronnie getting into Masters of the Universe. Yay! All right, thanks for listening. And please join us next week.
We're gonna press on, and we're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye.
Cambridge and with Sean is a Weirding Way Media podcast.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.